Today we have Abby Morrison on the client success interview. Abby joined in November 2023. I think you took advantage of our Black Friday deal because I remember we had talked to you earlier in the year. You were such a great fit. We were so disappointed that you didn't join. And then a few months passed, you came, took advantage of the Black Friday deal, got started, and now about half a year, a little bit over half a year later, you're full time in your online business. You just hit a 7K month and you did it while not even being home. You were away for 3 weeks traveling. And so why don't you just give us a little bit of a backstory as to who you are, what you're up to, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. I joined PTBI, like Zakk said, in November. I was on the fence about it for a while. I was in college at the time, so I wasn't really sure exactly when the right fit would be or when to do it. So at the time, I was a college athlete. I did kind of like gymnastics in college, so I had a lot on my plate, and I was already into the health and fitness realm. I had been coaching CrossFit. I coached one-on-one personal training at LA Fitness 19. And I had always known that I really, I wanted my own thing, my own business, because I was always a kind of a creature of wanting to have my own schedule. I never liked listening to my bosses at work. I felt like I was doing all this work, but not a lot of return. So it was really cool when I saw actually a friend or someone on Instagram mentioned Zakk. So they mentioned you, and I was like, yeah, that sounds really good. Got on a call. When I heard about the sale, I was like, I'm in right away. So yeah.
Cool. I love it. I do believe that friend was Sarah Strauss, correct?
Yeah, I don't really know her, but I had been following her for a while, and I had asked because I think she posted something about having a business mentor, and I was like, I would definitely need that because I don't know anything about business.
Mhm.
And she mentioned you.
Okay, perfect. So let me ask you this. What got you interested in online coaching in the first place? Because at this point you were looking for a business mentor to help you get started, but how did you realize that like fitness was the direction that you wanted to go in? And then not only fitness, but owning your own fitness business is the direction that you want to go in. So how did you come to that?
Yeah. So I had grown up doing gymnastics, and I actually in high school around my junior year, I was diagnosed with something called hypogonadism, which is a hormone disorder, which really had me dive into, okay, what is wrong with my body? I had to, look up what a calorie was, learn how to track my food, learn what would be the best approach to gain muscle because I was literally losing so much weight. The doctors didn't really know what was going on, so I had to learn a ton in a very short period of time. And so when I was doing that, like people kept telling me, like, this is for the better, even though it didn't seem like it at the time. I would kind of use this in order to become stronger and then help others as well. So that kind of clicked something in my brain as I was going through all that medical stuff. I was really frustrated, didn't know what to do. But as I learned more and more over the course of time, I was like, dang, this is really cool to see. Okay, I've put all this work in, to track my calories, to gain the muscle. And then I finally got to that conclusion where I had to get on hormone therapy, that stuff. But I learned so much in that process where I was like, I could definitely use this to help others as well. So that's why when I did go to college, I was like, definitely want to go in the fitness realm because I'm obsessed with it, and helping others as well. So went to a school across the country actually to get a major in exercise science, and then join the gymnastics team there. And then throughout that process I started helping people through First Form, which is a supplement company where I was able to help people through an app, the First Form app, and just help them kind of track their macros. I really fell in love with the process, and then kind of heard about it online where you could become an online health and fitness coach, and I was like, that sounds like exactly what I would want to do. So,
Awesome. And I missed this. Did you say that did you go to school or no for college?
yeah. So I went to a school. I live in California, so I went to a school in Tennessee for all 4 years. I majored in exercise science.
Okay, perfect. So then yeah, fitness was definitely the direction that you wanted to go. Let me ask you this. With your peers that you went to school with in exercise science, Was there any point where you were thinking that maybe you wanted to get like a career, like a physical therapist, or maybe some type of office job with what you were doing? Did you get any experience in that field? And what did that look like?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question because that was my original thought when I did go to college. The basic thing would be to go into exercise science, kinesiology, get something where you could become a physical therapist or an athletic trainer. That's exactly like what I was thinking at first. But then when I saw like the athletic trainers at our school literally just working on us athletes, I was like, in no way am I going to spend that many hours sitting at a practice just watching. Like, seems pretty boring. You don't get paid very well and you're doing so much work. Like, I think it's great what they do and it's awesome, but didn't seem like the route I wanted to go in just because there were so many hours involved, so many late nights. You would have to travel with the team. Just didn't seem worth it. And then in all reality, like college sports it's a tough thing, right? Because they're very geared to just, performing for that 4 years, not geared towards longevity of life.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what I wanted to go more towards. So after seeing that, I was like, not thinking that anymore. And then I had actually shadowed a physical therapist in their like own office, own clinic, and just seemed like pretty boring to me, to be honest. I was like, doesn't seem like I would want to go that route just because you're not doing a ton. I mean, it's very helpful, but not doing a ton. So when I started with First Form, just kind of helping people out as far as like the macro standpoint, coaching them on nutrition, I was like, this is actually super fun because I'm able to help them in so many different ways. And that's kind of what led me to want to do it.
Amazing, amazing. Now, do you ever like, does your friends that you went to school with, do they ever reach out to you about what you're doing now and think like, oh, that's, a cool opportunity, or are you kind of like the lone wolf in that regard?
Yeah, so I definitely got a little bit of hate, I feel. I've always been kind of a lone wolf kind of person. Like, just because I do like to spend my free time, working out. I like to spend my free time going on walks and reading books and, doing the things that are really going to propel me forward. So that already separated me just a little bit. A lot of my friends, especially in college, were, party animals or, anytime they were like in their free time, just on their phones, like hanging out, where I was always like, okay, let's do something, guys. Like I'm always wanting to be super productive in that way. So I was already like kind of a loner in that standpoint. I love my friends and I loved hanging out with them, but in that aspect, I definitely felt more, on track to do something bigger, to do something greater. So I was always separated by that. And then once I started getting more into the social media realm, I was just like, I'm just gonna make an Instagram. I'm just gonna do it. Like, I know that a lot of people are doing it right now, but whatever, like maybe it will turn into something, maybe it won't. And I'm really glad I did. I just started posting like super consistently. I didn't know what it would turn into. And I wasn't even thinking I was going to start my own business, but that's what was kind of cool because it did pay off. I already had, I mean, somewhat of a following before starting with PTBI, and that has really helped me in general. So
I love that. It's funny that you mention that, your college friends were all drinking and you were the lone wolf doing the healthy stuff when you were studying. Like, shouldn't your all your friends studying health and wellness also be into health and wellness as well? It's funny to
you
think.
would think,
Yeah.
you
What
would
did your
think, yeah.
what did your parents say about your decision with starting an online coaching business and not going a traditional route of getting a job?
So they're actually super supportive of it. It's funny because my dad had always been kind of researching, just like he loves doing his research and what's popping in business right now and like what makes you a ton of money. And he actually, when I was younger, kind of sparked the idea in my head. He was like, actually the super successful people right now are the people starting their own business. And I always like had that in the back of my head. I was like, that's interesting. I just don't think I could ever do that because I have no, like, I'm not great at technology. I don't know, all the back end stuff kind of confuses me. So I just kind of had that in my head. But then once, in college, once I kind of saw this opportunity arise, I was like, Well, hey, there you go. And they're both super supportive of like whatever I choose, but they know it's definitely like a riskier standpoint. And my mom has always been like, yeah, I just don't understand how that could possibly work out, but she was always super supportive. But yeah, not ever like super like, well, we want you to go the traditional route. They didn't really care what I did. They were super supportive. So
I love it. No, I love it when parents are super supportive. It was like pulling teeth to get my parents to see the opportunity with starting a business or online, going online or any of that kind of stuff. So it's really cool that you had your parents' support. What did your friends think? I know you said you got a little bit of hate in the beginning. Did they ever come around? Do you just eventually get to a point where you're like, fuck it, like I'm making money? Like what was that like?
yeah, it's funny because I've always been the type of person that I'm like, well, if you're not going to support me, like whatever, like then our friendship wasn't really worth it, right? And I've been always the person to like just do whatever I think is right. And I mean, it's funny because in college, not the most supportive friends. I think mainly that stemmed from maybe what they were doing or maybe what they weren't seeing progress in, and so that kind of turned back on me. So that's what I always thought of, and so I was always super just like, if you're not going to support me, I'm just going to go my own way. However, I've had super supportive friends that back me up. They're super cool. They're like, you want me to share and like your stuff, I will do that on every single post. So that's super cool, but not a ton. I've gotten a little bit where it's like it's a little bit scary to post things. This is actually, I'm gonna add this because I just thought of this. This is kind of a little bit of a crazy story.
Mhm.
I actually got injured my sophomore year. My knee literally fell apart and I needed surgery and I had to stay home for a semester. This was like two years ago, a year and a half ago, and this is still when I was posting on social media. Hadn't started my business yet. However, I was just posting super consistently. And so when my knee injury happened, I stayed at home. My coach didn't agree with my decision, even though I needed to stay at home in order to, heal up my knee, go to physical therapy, that kind of stuff. And I got the biggest hate, the biggest backlash from posting things, me at rehab, me doing, getting back into the gym, like trying to be a little bit motivational, inspiring on social media. However, they were super pissed. Like, I tackled with the idea. I was like, should I be posting this? I don't know. I did it anyways, but that was a big hitter right there. Like, I definitely felt like a little bit hurt that people weren't supporting me that much and just kind of felt a little bit of hate as far as that goes. But that was only like the only little bit of a crazy difference. I still did it anyways, and I'm like, whatever, like you can think whatever you want. I'm literally just trying to inspire people, but like that's always gonna happen and I'm fine with that. So
Good, good. Now, what were your expectations of starting a business? You just hit a 7K month and you're traveling for 3 weeks and you're about not even a year into this starting this business. So, what were your expectations of starting? What was the process like to get where you are now? And how does it feel, you know, to be a champ?
well, thank you. I don't know about that, but thanks. I did have my doubts at first when I was first starting. I saw all the success that was really helpful, like on PTBI's website, your Instagram. It was super helpful to see all those testimonials. I will say that was like a big game changer when it came to my decision in just making the leap to be an online coach. Since I saw so many people be super successful in it, being like, working while traveling, having that full-time job, income, that kind of thing, that gave me a lot of hope. So I've always been a pretty driven person, a very motivated person. And I know that, like, if all these people can do it, there's been tons and tons of testimonials on doing it, then, like, why can't I? And I know I've had a lot of ups and downs in the past. I've learned a lot. I've gone to college. Like, I know a ton. So that was kind of my perspective on it. Like, I saw all these people do it. Why can't I do it? So I never had some major doubts. I know that a lot of people do when they first sign up and they're like, I don't know how this could be possible. I never really felt that way. I've always known that, if I see other people do it, I could definitely do it. And that might take me a little bit more time and I'm fine with that. But like the financial freedom of traveling while working and like literally having your own schedule, that's like the biggest thing to me. And that's been the coolest part of like this journey, actually seeing it come through and being able to be like, hey, like I'm actually able to do this, able to do have my own schedule, travel, and still be able to run my full-time business. It's more about the effort and intent you put into it. And I've always, believed in myself and doing it, to be honest. So
Sweet. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think a lot of people will look at an opportunity and think like, oh, it's a scam or, that's not possible for me. And, your confidence coming in saying like, if they can do it, then so can I. That's the same exact mentality that I have when I see other people making money online. I'm like, wait, there's literally no difference from what they're doing, what I'm doing. So why can't I do it too? Um, Now, when it comes to what you've actually learned in PTBI, what were some things that, you had this expectation of starting a business and then you get inside and you're like, you actually learn what actually is important, which is might totally be different than what you initially thought. So what are some things that stood out to you that actually made a difference in getting results in your business?
yeah, so it's funny because before joining PTBI, kind of tackling the idea of online fitness coaching, I'd been listening. I love podcasts, and I listen to them so consistently. So I listen to a lot of like, oh, I would want to research like fitness online business, whatever. And there's a ton of them out there. However, like all of them were so general. I was like, no one's giving me any answers here. Everybody would just be like, you just have to work hard and be consistent, and that is the outcome. And so I didn't know what to expect. I was like, this is dumb because no one's like, everybody's just being general with hard work. I already got that part down. I know I can be a hard worker. So that's why I was very confused when getting started. And so when I heard about a program like this, I was like, okay, this is interesting because this will actually give me the steps. And I think the biggest thing for me, like when first getting signed up, it was a little bit overwhelming as far as like, oh my gosh, this seemed like it was just me kind of overventilating, being like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of information to tackle. But your guys' patience, your support, and just being like one thing at a time really helped. Just kind of breaking down those things like a little, like an hour every day was super helpful. And then I actually just gave another girl that just joined PTBI the same kind of advice is like what has been extremely helpful is the support that you guys have given. Just super fast with like texting back. I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's already texting me back. This is crazy. There's that one-on-one support is like unmatched between all of like Megan, Jen, the one-on-one coaches, and then just the support inside PTBI has been the biggest game changer, I think. The course material is great as far as like giving me exactly what I need in order to make the actions. I knew that would not be a problem, but I think I didn't expect that much support one-on-one and really utilizing you guys as resources, like asking the questions I have. I think a lot of people get scared to ask questions, but that's been really helpful for me to just, make that leap, ask the questions. Like in my head, I'm like, I paid for this. I get to ask all the questions I want. And it's been super helpful as far as that goes, the support. So
Beautiful. I love it. What advice would you give someone who is thinking about either starting an online coaching business or joining PTBI? They're on the fence. What would you say to them?
I think the biggest advice is another big thing for me was like it was a gut feeling. I Even though a lot of people might have doubts about joining a program like this, oh, you're going to waste your money, it's a big scam, it's really hard to have your own business. I think so many people can be so loud about that, but if you have that gut feeling deep down that this is the decision for you, make that leap, because that was definitely for me. Like people had been telling me, I don't know, like that's kind of scary, I wouldn't do that. And for the like many months before you launch a sale, I just had this gut feeling. I was like, no, this seems like the right decision. And so I feel like if you have that gut decision, just make that leap, especially if you're on the fence. It's just those other outside voices giving you crap, or questioning it. Just make the leap if it's that gut decision, and like it will definitely pay off in the end. So
I love it. I love it. Abby, any final words for anyone listening?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat. Go ahead and drop your Instagram and we'll have the people give you a follow.
Okay. Like in the chat or
Oh
just
no, no,
my.
just yeah, just spell it out.
Oh, it's Ads of Steel Fitness. It's very easy to remember.
I love it.
ABS Steel Fitness. Yeah, that's it. Mhm.
Beautiful. Abby, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, Zakk.